What's up, gamers? Tramilton here, and today we're gonna read through Thrones of Decay, introducing Elspeth von Draken. It was posted yesterday, but was busy. So we'll read through, we'll see what they had to say, and then we'll see what I had to say about it. Greetings! We are back this week with our second deep dive into Thrones of Decay. Having royally infested ourselves with Nurgle's blessings last time, we thought it appropriate to take a refreshing trip to the Gardens of Moor with the Empire's latest legendary lord, Elspeth von Draken. And though you may have heard some rumblings already, we're delighted to confirm that Thrones of Decay will be releasing on the 30th of April. Alright, good. Getting a... You can check out the introduction to Thrones of Decay and Tamar Khan, the Maggot Lord, via the links below, as well as the Nurgle showcase in the official video. So, these two. Right, there's lots to cover, and we all know why we're here. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Elspeth von Draken. Introducing the Dark Lady of Nuln. Some, the Graveyard Rose to others. Elspeth von Draken is a respected advisor to the Count-Elector Countess Emanuel von Liebwitz. There she is. There's not much to work, it's just basic halberdiers back. Wearing the Nuln colors, black and red. At a glance, here's what she brings to the Empire. Spellcaster. As a potent Lore of Death spellcaster with a hefty scythe to boot, Elspeth's abilities grants her a healthy mix of subversion and magic. Elspeth can utilize a warhorse as a typical mount or spring for the monstrous Carmine Dragon. Imperial Gunnery School, a unique campaign mechanic focused on developing the next stages of the Empire's weaponry with black powder and wizardry. Gardens of Moor, a new building type allowing Elspeth to transport her armies instantly to the Gardens of Moor, constructed within friendly Empire cities. Descended from a bloodline long touched by the winds of magic, Elspeth has often been a reclusive yet baneful foe to the enemies of the Empire. As an obsessive experimenter and master of magic, it's time to bring her power to the forefront and enhance the Empire's forces in the face of emerging chaos. Often found mounted atop a Carmine Dragon, Elspeth von Draken is deadly in every sense of the word. The two-handed Pale Scythe, her weapon of choice, passively grants her increased spell mastery and resistance, growing in intensity as she casts further spells. And with the Dev's Timekeeper, can reverse the sands in her favor, healing her own wounds by siphoning life from an enemy via direct damage. As she stands somewhere between life and death, we must look at Darkwalker, an active augment that grants Elspeth a large helping of physical resistance and triggers the Strider attribute. When mounted on Carmine Dragon, Coruscating Blast can be used. This active Dragon Breath delivers both magical and flaming damage. Plus, with the Living Darkness passive, she increases her own physical resistance by completely removing the magical attacks of enemies within her area of effect. Alright, so we got something to work with here. And so they're talking about Elspeth and her abilities. So what we get is she has a Death's Timekeeper, which is a heal. It heals her by draining life from enemy via direct damage. See. Alright, so direct damage, for those not certain what they mean with that. That's some spell says they have direct damage on them, rather than say an AoE or something. Like, rather than selecting a line or a circle, when you like have a spell that clicks on an enemy, they call that direct damage. Like Fate of Vejuna or Spirit Leech, for example. Let's see. I don't know if it's something she has to activate. That's like the vampire count thing called again. Anyway, like damage around her, and then she gets healed at the same time. Or if it's like tied to when she casts direct damage spells, if that will heal her. She gains spell mastery and spell resistance as she casts more stuff. There's probably a cap to it. How it works, I assume it's by how much Winds of Magic you spend, rather than how many spells you cast. Which is nice, because if she's going to be a dragon, she's going to be a big target, and the AI loves shooting big targets with ranged weapons, especially if they're flying. So yeah, having a healing source for your lores is always good, or characters in general. Is you get physical resistance and strider attributes with an activatable augment. I don't think if there's a similar ability that we can compare it to that is like basically the same, but I can't think of one that gives like strider, that temporary buff. But yeah, physical resistance good, especially that let's see, living darkness passive increases your own physical resistance and removes magical attack. All right, so if you're not sure what magical attack does, trait, it means that it ignores physical resistance. That's all magic attacks do, which is a special damage reduction trait. So it has nothing to do with armor or melee defense or anything like that. It's just, do they have physical resistance? If yes, ignore it. That's why magic attacks is supposedly strong against demons, because demons have no armor and they have a bunch of physical resistance in its place. And let's see, and magical and flaming damage from a breath attack, fairly standard stuff. Coruscating blast. I assume it's gonna have a debuff, or if it would just been called the same thing that the dragons, the fire breathing dragons have, like fire breath, or whatever. And that's about it. So let's look at the Imperial Gunnery School, because this is the one thing I've been wondering the most about. Guess we look at the picture first. Let's see. All right, here we have the different units. Have 1 second, just scratching an itch. The basic rifleman. Have the mounted rifleman, who I know has the grenadiers or pistoleers, etc. I wonder if that covers all of them, if it just covers the specific. Then we have the Howitzer. Have the Grand Cannon. We have the volley gun, the rocket battery, the steam tank, and the landship. So those are the units that can be affected. Oh no, yeah, here it shows here which units are affected. All right, that answered that question. So this is probably all mounted rifle units. This is all rifle infantry. These are Zemotals, all variations, which is regular mortars. The wagon version, which doesn't see a lot of action, I think, because it just doesn't have a lot of ammo on it. And this is the Regiment of Renown version that has magic attack, I think. Or this might be a new one. But I think it's the Roar one that we got from wait. The very first DLC. Grim and the Grave. Yeah, alright, let's see. Missile explosion radius plus 25%. That's good. Radius increase, even with small numbers, is actually pretty big, because you have to think about that it expands in all directions. Even a small amount, quite noticeable if you like compare them on top of each other. So 25%, that's pretty generous. Camouflage netting. He gains snipe and stalk. Alright. So those who don't know, stalk is that your unit is basically hidden as long as they're not running, which mortars can't. Well, the wagon version can. And snipe is that they don't reveal themselves when they shoot, unless a unit can detect them from just seeing them. by distance, but if they shoot from very far away, they won't reveal themselves. A dazed contact effect, reduce speed and melee defense for mortar units. I wonder if this applies to not just the bullets, but the melee attacks as well. Could be not interesting. Rather, it would be funny if that. But I assume this is just for the ranged attacks, because they have their own categories on the sheets. They don't tend to overlap. Alright, well, dazed is good. Slowing down units, easier to hit them. Takes longer for them to reach your artillery or gun line. Gives you more time to soften them up further. Yep, pretty solid. Need these pages. Oh, there are 2 different armories. One Imperial and one MF. So there's going to be more than just this. There seems to be 4 tires. So let's read up on it. The Empire's arsenal needs an upgrade. Fast and the long-standing institute. Great knowledge and innovation, the Imperial Gunnery School has the means to make that a reality. Elspeth von Draken's unique faction mechanic, the Imperial Gunnery School, offers permanent upgrades for gunnery and artillery units in return for schematics. A resource earned from using gunnery units in battle, as well as from special post-battle options when defeating enemy gunpowder units. Special post-battle options. Oh, okay. Some Imperial Gunnery School upgrades are available from the very start, but innovation is nothing without knowledge to back it up, and thus more advanced upgrades requires the Gunnery School itself to advance. The Imperial Gunnery School can advance via field testing. A series of challenges and prerequisites that prove the institution has what it takes. Once enough progress has been made, the Amethyst Armory can be unlocked. Here is where the further schematics can be spent on exclusive Amethyst units and powerful restockable single-use abilities. Alright, so this is how they're gonna... This is how they're working on to... because basically, eventually, you will have all the upgrades, and this is just gonna be a resource that's gonna be stacking up endlessly, because you have nothing to spend it on, and the Amethyst Armory is gonna be a way to spend that. By getting unique versions, like the magic plus gunpowder infusion units. You can recruit those, and you could recruit the one-time use abilities armies. Yeah, single use abilities remarkable. If you want an example of that, think of Ickett's nuke, for example. That's the first that comes to mind. Gardens of Moor. Lore. Let's read the green text. Friendly or neutral Empire-owned settlements known to Elspeth can be selected here to construct up to 5 Gardens of Moor. Once constructed, Elspeth and her army can travel instantly to a selected Gardens of Moor via fast travel button. The Gardens of Moor also offer powerful buildings viewed in the province over panel via the button to the right of the building icons. Select any existing gardens for the option to deconstruct and make space for gardens at a different location. Alright, so you click on the Gardens of Moor button, you get to see all the available cities you can put one in. And where you have one, you get this rose badge. If you don't, there's nothing on them. And then you can just click, you get fast travel, and it seems to be a 5-turn cooldown. Here you can quickly jump between the different cities that has the gardens. Castle Draken, huh? I wonder if this... No, it doesn't. It can't start with that. For the deceased to receive protection from Moor, the god of the dead, after they pass over to the afterlife, they must be buried in the Gardens of Moor, where black roses grow and magic has no place, for to allow it would defy the certainty of one's demise. The Gardens of Moor, Elspeth von Draken erects new black tower buildings in any visible friendly or neutral Empire settlement and reaps powerful benefits. Constructed, Elspeth army can travel instantly to selecting Gardens of Moor via fast travel, which has both cost and cooldown period. These sacred gardens also offer the construction of powerful buildings that can push back corruption, allowing for recruitment in foreign territory and much more. The gardens themselves are limited in number, and if a settlement containing one is razed or occupied by a hostile or non-empire faction, the gardens within are destroyed. Yeah, that's to be assumed. You won't lose like charges or whatever. It's not like you'll go down to you can only have 4 if you lose a city that has the tower. Just gets removed here and you can place another one in its place somewhere else. Theodore Bruckner. I'll be honest, I don't know this character at all, so let's learn about him. He has a mighty beard, pretty cool armor with a big wing here and the griffin claw. I think it's a griffin claw at least. Let's see some basic sword boys in the back. Feels like he should have a shield here. By his arm. Often known as the Hand of Judgment, Theodore Bruckner, our legendary hero, serves as the headsman and judicial champion to the Elector Countess of Nuln. Stands with the Empire as not just the hand of justice amongst them, but also as a mighty foe and to any political opponents that stand against the ways of the Countess. Famed as a savage, skilled fighter with inhuman abilities, Theodore Bruckner has felled many powerful opponents and has his sights set on Tamur Khan. Giant in stature with an optional demigryph mount for extra mobility, Bruckner is the ideal right-hand man in any conflict. With a Hand of Judgment passive augment triggering when in range of an enemy character, Bruckner gains unbreakable attribute, as well as execute behaviors to strike down them swiftly. As the Titan headsman, this active hex effect can decrease the movement speed and melee defense of enemies, while the fearsome combatant passive hits the opposition with an intimidating aura, dropping their leadership. He may also uncover the Liar's Bane and the Stormlance weapons, as well as possessing the deadly Bale Flame Amulet. Amulet triggers an explosion when the wearer meets their demise, dealing high damage to those in range. Going down swinging. Alright. Legendary hero, melee guy. Beat stick, by the looks of it. Yeah. Hand of Judgment is a passive that when he's within an enemy character range, how big that range is, we do not know yet. I assume it's the typical 30 meters or something. Bruckner gains Unbreakable, as well as Execute Behavior. I wonder if this means that he needs to have the Hand of Judgment triggered to be able to use Execute Behavior. As the Titan Headsman, this active hex effect can decrease the movement speed and melee defense of enemies, while the Fearsome Combatant passive is the opposition with Intimidating Aura, dropping their leadership. Well, we don't know how much leadership they're losing out on. The Empire isn't that like big on morale damage. Like sure, you can drop orcs with or most infantry with a strong volley, but mostly that's from damage loss rather than lack of leadership. You're getting like army loss penalties. Don't care too much about Fearsome Combatant, if that's the only thing it does is leadership, but it's better that it's there than not there. Minus movement speed. Kind of thinking what this could affect. It might actually trigger the called faster enemies nearby or something like that. It's a leadership penalty. By making them, I don't know how big of a difference it needs to be between the unit and the enemy unit for that to trigger. But maybe with this minus speed, it becomes just enough. The sooner the enemy starts routing, the better. Because then you can just hit them in the back. Or deal with other enemy units. He may also uncover, the Liar's Bane, Stormlight, these are just his skill weapons, and when he dies, he explodes if he has the Baleful Amulet. I hope it does more than that. It probably gives some stats, because doing something on death that isn't like Tamur Khan, where you get revived, basically, it's not what you want to do. You don't want Theodore here to go down, then you don't have him for X amount of turns. However long it takes for him to recover. Master Engineer. Ooh, he comes with the grenade launcher thing. See, what do we have here in the back? Like artillery guys. A lot of them. Yeah, the guns are over here. This witch captain, hunter slash witch captain, whatever they're called. The sight of a master engineer is a rare one within the Empire. These quiet men of intellect and progress learn to write scripture, design outlandish architecture, and invent strange machinery for the benefits of their civilization. But it's just not their penchant for deadly weapons supplies that makes them a valuable asset on the battlefield. Master engineers that grow weary of the quiet life step into combat with their firearm expertise and utilize their patriotic nature to achieve victory. This new generic lord for the Empire may approach the battle on foot, or mounted on top of a warhorse, mechanical steed, or even within a steam tank, wielding a grenade launcher as their primary weapon and a sword as a backup. Master Engineer brings some experimental devices to the table as they lead their armies directly. The Master of Ballistics, this passive ability grants reduced reload time for artillery and war machines, while also increasing their accuracy. Thanks to their pigeon bombs and active ability, Master Engineer can deliver a single long-range bombardment of destruction. Alright, so that answers, if you remember my video about the trailer. I was wondering if we're going to get the mechanical horse or not. Looks like getting that. Since it wasn't showing in the trailer when this guy showed up. It might not have been him, it might have been another one. Because I don't recall him holding this, I think he just had a basic rifle. Yeah, steam tank mount is cool. I don't know what the difference between a warhorse and mechanical steed will be. Find out together eventually, maybe. Pigeon bomb is it was kind of fun reading about the pigeon bomb because this reminds me of the Dungeons and Dragon game Warhammer has called Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. This is a real item you could make or get your hands on in that game. So this is a single long-range bombardment. I assume it's like a missile or something you shoot away. Hope it does some damage. Or if an actual bombardment, which is like when there's multiple projectiles going straight down. At least in spells. Let's see. Reload time for artillery and war machines is always good. The higher reload time, the faster your guns shoot. Oh well, not higher reload time. Well, the higher the reload time stat is. Grenade launchers are fun. Yeah, that's about it. That's what we can tell from what they're telling. There it is. There's the horse. Engineer. Alright, yeah, so it was it was a master engineer on the wall there in the trailer. This is your regular guy, regular engineer, which I guess is the hero version. The horse doesn't quite look I remember it from the tabletop. Still looks cool. Engineers of the Empire follow a similar to that of their master. So instead of leading troops into battle, they opt to nestle themselves within it as support generic hero, wielding the same gizmos and gadgets as those that trained them. Engineer leave the grenade launcher at home in favor of the two-handed repeater rifle. Yeah, that's what I think he used on the wall. I could be remembering wrong. It doesn't really matter. With the option of a warhorse or mechanical steed for a mount, with this, they still have access to the artillery buffs with the Master of Ballistics and a potent mercurial, I assume that's how it's pronounced, mercurial shot from their rifles. Alright. So he has a snipe shot with the mercurial shot, I assume. Master of Ballistics, I think this is the same one that dwarf engineers have. It's called that too, or was it? Or am I thinking of recalibration? Oh well. The effect seems to be the same. The buffs. Mercurial shot, an active magic missile for the engineer. They fire a powerful flame projectile from afar with high target penetration and explosive payload. Study his way. Null iron sights. Yeah. Alright, so that confirms that from the trailer. Yep. It's the boys with the rifles and the breastplate. That's basically how you identify iron sights. Drawn from the guards and apprentices of the Imperial Gunnery School, the Null Ironsides belongs to the Iron Companies of rocking heavy plate armor and black powder firearms. Some of the most widely respected combatants the Empire has to offer. And with the advanced equipment to match, the Null Ironsides are new missile infantry that the enemy will wish they'd kept their distance from. With access to a two-handed rifle and a sword as a backup, the Null Ironsides are best suited alongside their fellow handgunners, launching a barrage of lead across the lands to support their frontline troops. Thanks to their passive ability, Black Powder Discipline, the Null Ironsides gain a boost to their accuracy and reload speed when they shoot from a stationary position. Stationary position? You can't shoot while on the run. Wondering if they had to stand still for X amount of time, or if they had to like stand on garrison walls or barricades, which I hope not, because that would be extremely situational. Also very bad most of the time. Some of you spotted Ironsides with non-regulation repeater handguns in our Thrones of Decay announced trailer. This footage was captured on an in-development version of the game. However, in order to remain as authentic to the world of Warhammer as possible, the non-Ironsides at release will be issued with massive wrought handguns, plate armor, and highly drilled firing discipline. Alright, so I was right when I reacted to the trailer, because I said that they had repeater guns instead of rifles. Alright, good on clarification, we appreciate that. We don't want another sword goblin situation on our hands. Hochland long rifles, right? I think we spotted these guys in the trailer as well. They were on the wall, I think. And where the Master Engineer goes up. The Empire doubles down on their black powder utilization with the Hochlanders and their rifled firearm, crafted by Leon Todmeister himself. Precise Hochland long rifle, or to give its full title, Leon Todmeister's fantabulously far-reaching harquebus of unforeseeable and unperceived bereavement, is widely hated by those that haven't the privilege to use it. Able to single out generals and commanders from far away, no one on the wrong end of the barrel is truly safe. With a sword in the back pocket of its user, this low-entity missile infantry finds its place among the Empire's growing taste for firearm. Low entity, alright. So this is not the unit you want to make a lot of then. Like the gun version of aspiring champions, I guess. One thing I'm slightly concerned about when I see the talk about long range with guns is line of sight issues, the rifles. Unless they're changing that, like improving on it, I should say. These units might not perform as much as they're hyped up to be. Because firearm line of sight can be pretty annoying. And gets like easily blocked by shit on the ground. Knights of the Black Rose. These look pretty sick. I guess this is what people wanted all along. Just Empire Knights with the sword instead of a lance poking people with. Back in Medieval 2 at least, when a knight unit in that game charged with the lances, if the lances connected with an enemy, they would drop the lance afterwards and start using a sword for the rest of the fight. And the entities in the unit that didn't connect with their lance would still hold the lance till they would get such opportunity. Fortunately, such technology has been lost with time. And other things. Like Army Painter from Shogun 2. See, founded during the darkest days of the Black Plague, the Order of the Black Rose was always shrouded in mystery. Though its size has shifted unreliably over time, with dark silver armor to reference their name and red gauntlets to signify the spilt blood of their enemies. The Knights of the Black Rose, a new cavalry unit, frequent the symbols of the god of death, and only those chosen from those of highest nobility. As a heavily armored cavalry unit, the Knights of the Black Rose ride atop a warhorse as they storm into battle. Equipped with a sword and shield, they excel at prolonged combat without the need to cycle in and out, helping them to lock down the enemy as their fellow cavalry push in from the flank and bind the opposition where they stand. Assuming they don't send them flying, of course. Alright, let's see. What do we get out of this? Blah, 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 blah. Text, lore. Heavy armored cavalry units. Equipped with a sword and shield. Prolonged combat without need to cycle in and out. Headwind to lockdown. Alright, so these guys don't have anything special with them. They're just what I call for like brawling cavalry. That doesn't put as much emphasis on cycle charging because maybe the charge bonus isn't that high. Still gonna be fairly respectable, I think. Maybe 30 or 40 charge bonus. But yeah, these are the like you charge them in and then you let them hack away of cavalry, which we don't have a lot of. Almost all cavalry are shock cavalry, judging by the stats. Steam tank volley gun. Ah, it's slightly different barrels than a regular volley gun. That's nice. I think yeah, this is different too. This doesn't look how I remember the steam gun. And this is an average dude, so this is not the Master Engineer. Oh shit! Does this mean we're getting new textures? This thing. For those who don't remember, the steam tank is notorious for having god awful textures because it was from the first game, and they never wanted to improve the textures on it, so it just looked very, very pixelated. Unlike the plating stuff, but it looks very good here. The first steam tank ever designed came from the mind of Italian inventor Leonardo de Miragliano, and used dwarf technology to power its many gears and pistons. They became an Empire staple despite a design so complex that future Empire generations have been unable to produce more often. It looks like a steam tank. It has a cool new paint job on it. This is probably going to be a fun unit to use. But now, a new variant has arrived on the field, completely rebuilt, remodeled, and redesigned, bringing with it a unique tool of destruction. Though the typical steam tank brings a hull-mounted cannonball launcher, I don't know why you just didn't say a cannon. As part of the package, the volley gun variant has swapped the weapon out for a new revolving triple-barrel cannon. This change in weaponry sacrifices the longer range of the steam cannon for a much higher rate of fire, kind of the same thing, making it ideal for getting into the thick of battle and mowing targets down with its spinning barrels. Steam tanks as a whole have also seen an upgrade, with several new attributes and behaviors that will impact both variants. The steam tank now has directional shield, which allows it to block projectiles from all sides. Crucially, the missile block chance is most effective when the tank is hit by a projectile from the front. Alright, that's good. Steam tanks did have a penchant of just getting torn apart by range units, especially gunpowder units. Ended up fighting that. But yeah, this is like a super late game unit, so by that time, you're normally either fighting chaos or you're basically won the campaign. Yeah, this is great when you get like earlier steam tanks through other means than the tire fire building. They also opened a hatch on the top, and an engineer commander sits proudly in the turret, waving his sword about and shooting anyone who gets close. Finally, the steam tank can fire all its weapons while on the move, making it much easier to use in battle. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he's keeping his arms down. Get to see his pistol. I assume he has a pistol. He has a sword. A Marienburg land ship. I guess the focus was put over here for the picture because it's kind of blurry over here at the front. I temporarily forgot what this is called here, but I know what it's called. You guys temporarily forgot. I play Sea of Thieves. Set sail in the face of adversity with a Marienburg landship, a colossal bulky contraption originally designed for the merchant lords of Marienburg, in an attempt to imitate the Empire's strongest steam tank. What this new war machine lacked in sophistication, it more than makes up for sheer power, sheer size, ambition, and its myriad of weaponry. I see one cannon and a bunch of guys with guns here. when I hear myriad of weaponry, I think a bunch of different weapons, but I guess a lot of rifles is a myriad of weaponry. Moving on. Towering over the battlefield is a mobile fortress of sorts, Marienburg Landship launches light cannon rounds from its culverine. I can crush opponents underfoot while the crew maintain on the deck above, armed with rifles to pick off any passerby. With the active toggle ability of full power, the Marienburg cranks itself to full speed, sacrificing its turning capabilities in favor of ramming speed. If things aboard the vessel are getting dire, the passive ability abandon ship will trigger, detonating the land ship and wiping out anyone nearby. Oh my god, what is it? What's with the let's kill our units way of thinking? This is the third thing now. First it was Tamarkan, that's like, oh, if it dies it's fine, he'll get back. Then it was the legendary hero here, who when he dies he explodes. So like they're trying to incentivize you to let him die. And now we have kill this unit like the fucking stakes with the elephants when they started panicking. With the might of this hulking war machine, the enemy will be the ones thrown overboard. Alright, I want the whole ramming thing. I'm into it, and I'm curious to see it in work. If it can actually do something about it, because this looks like a very sizable unit. If it can pull off something like a mammoth charge, the Norscan mammoth, that could be pretty impressive. I guess it's something similar to Chaos Dwarfs. They also have something akin to this. I hope it gets like a fast charge bonus and the speed and just go forward. You could, in theory, I don't know how fast this thing is, but you could say there's an enemy charging towards you, you charge through them, and then you try to escape with the land ship behind the enemy. Empire Legacy updates. Just as we did with Nurgle last week, we're going to touch upon some of the big legacy updates coming to the Empire faction as a whole with update 5.0. Remember, already own the Empire in any form, you will still benefit from the below changes. Completely free. Elector counts and Imperial Authority. What are the issues with the current system? While Imperial Authority and the Elector count system for Karl Franz work quite well in Warhammer 2, the addition of new threats to the Empire in Warhammer 3 have left the system as a whole feeling quite punishing. There are a few UX issues with Elector counts mechanics, such as not being clear who the rightful owner of a region would be before taking a settlement. Current interaction between fealty and Imperial Authority often leaves the player increasing their Imperial Authority directly, while then hoping that Imperial Authority increases their fealty in each turn. It doesn't give much control to the player. What are we changing? Imperial Authority has been reworked and separated from the Elector count system. While the Elector count system is often not appropriate for our other Empire lores, they aren't electors in the lore. We felt that Imperial Authority could be used as a central mechanic for all Empire factions. All Empire factions now have access to Imperial Authority, however, the feature only becomes active once they own land within the Empire territory. The Elector counts mechanic is now exclusive to Karl Franz, but don't worry, Gelt is getting new toys as below. Imperial Authority would previously impact fealty via chance. Fealty now goes up and down directly by cause and effect. The players will be able to more directly see the effects of their or others' decisions and actions across the Empire. At a base level, Imperial Authority shows how much of the Empire is actually controlled by said Empire, and it will divvy out rewards accordingly, while giving you a clearer view of how well the Empire of Man is doing as a whole. Some tweaks and improvements have been made to the Elector Count's UI to tidy it up, fix color bleeding, and summon the Elector Counts visible at all times. New markers have been added to the Empire regions to show who the rightful owner should be when owned by someone. New markers have been added. Rightful owner should be. We'll think about it. Summon the Elector Counts. Functionality has changed. Originally it replenished all Elector Count state troops. Now when elector counts are summoned, every elector count that is not currently garrisoned or besieged will be summoned to Karl Franz's location, turning the tide when faced with overwhelming odds. You mean becoming the overwhelming odds? Holy shit. That's is that as insane as I am reading it? Some of the electric counts functionality has changed. Originally replenish all electric counts state troops, yes. Now when the electric counts are summoned, every electric count that is not currently garrisoned or besieged will be summoned to Karl Franz's location. Turning the tide with overwhelming odds. So you summon the leader of every Empire faction that's in the Empire, basically. Hmm. Do mind you you can place your own guys as electric counts. You gain more electric count slots, I guess we call it. But yeah, that is as long as they're not garrisoned or besieged. Yeah, that's a pretty strong effect. Good lord, and that's really good. Good on them for thinking that one out. Alright, so now the thing above that I needed to think about. New markers have been added to Empire regions to show who their rightful owners should be when owned by someone. I'm trying to think if certain characters have certain areas. If they get a bonus or something, or if you get like close relationship with them. Because like they have the regions that they rightfully own, quote unquote. Guess we'll see more about that later. With these changes, and by allowing every Empire faction access to Imperial authority, we're reinforcing the idea that every leader is motivated by the protection of the Empire, even if some are preoccupied in other areas at the beginning of a campaign. All fans host a beloved campaign that many players enjoy, so it was important for us to maintain everything you enjoy about his journey, while also making some tweaks to keep it up to snuff. What are the issues with Prince of Altdorf? Karl Franz's start position can be quite tricky at times, particularly with the situation at Helmgard. Players would often struggle to take the fort of Helmgard in a timely manner, resulting in a lot of damage to the rest of the Empire while they lay siege. This slows Karl Franz's campaign down considerably. The Elector machinations didn't have much use past the early to mid-game, where there are less Elector count factions in the world. While the Elector counts and Imperial authority features require you to defend the Empire, Karl doesn't get many tools to help him do that, and would even be met with trespass penalties when trying to rush to the aid of his fellow men. After a certain point, prestige became an unneeded resource without anything of true value to spend on. What are we changing? Karl Franz now begins his campaign with control over Helmgard, a small change in theory, but one that has a big impact on his early game. Having freed up a big bottleneck, and allowing him to gain some stronger momentum. We have added a bunch of new tools to Karl Franz within his electoral machinations pack, called Emperor's Decrees. Each decree is a powerful ability that can benefit either your own or fellow Empire factions at the cost of prestige. An example, you can trigger an Inquisition in a province to clear away some of that pesky vampire/Nurgle corruption. Send aid to an elector that increases their fealty and spawn a temporary army for them. For safely declaring war against another elector count without suffering fealty losses through their casus belli. Karl is now immune to all trespass penalties when moving through Empire-owned territory. This is great that we can move around without... I think trespass penalty is one of the most annoying things the whole ass game. Especially when you're trying to help people. Or like NPC factions that you don't want to die. But you're not in a military alliance with them, but you're trying to build up so you can get the military alliance. Or at least military access, etc. That's nice. I did recently play as Oxiadal, and he doesn't have trespass penalties with anyone. And that was pretty sweet because that let you move around as much as you liked without worrying. Let's see, and then the big thing here. Would added new tools. Oh yeah, and getting Helmgard to start. I think this mostly just gives you for it. Gives you more options at the start where you want to head. Rather than you're always gonna go to the Helmgard and deal with that shit. With the Empire Successionist. Now you get a bit more leeway. Other things. Want to go in another direction without worrying about dealing with that first. Let's see. I'm trying to get these bonuses. I would need to see them before I can praise this. It could be basically useless. But being able to safely declare war against an electric camp without suffering fealty losses is definitely fantastic. Eventually, you do want to own all of the Empire. Most people want it. Because the more cities you have, the more money you have, the more armies you can make, and the more cooler units you can afford. College of Magic. You didn't think we'd forget about Balthasar Gelt, did you? What issues are there with Balthasar Gelt? He deserves a unique faction mechanic of his own. He has grown wary of his current starting position, and as the addition of Elspeth in Null, making the Empire feel a bit cramped over there. He's seeking a change of locale. I was thinking about that too, that if Elspeth is gonna be in Null, it's gonna be definitely a very busy place. A lot of legendary Empire lords nearby. So, what are they doing? Balthasar Gelt has taken an educational exchange trip to Grand Cafe. Starting just shy of some nomads. Yeah, I'm reading that right. Starting just shy of some nomads within the Temple of Elemental Wind. I don't know exactly where that is. I'm not that often in Cafe. And being right next door to his good friend the Iron Dragon. As he helps the Iron Dragon deal with the nomads, he presents with a series of dilemmas that pave the way for his time in Cafe. Or even his return to the Empire, having secured a lifelong friendship in the process. I think I know what this is then. You're gonna get prompts at the start of your turn. Like, do you want to do this or do you want to do this? And you might like require something like you might need 5,000 gold to do this thing, or you might need this resource to do that thing, etc. They paved the way for his time in Cafe, or even blah blah blah. Yeah, so Gelt now wants to become buddies with Xiao Ming, Iron Dragon. I wonder how it works. Return to the Empire. Do we have to walk the way over there, or is it like you get a city there, and you can like choose, like, oh, do you want to stay in Grand Cafe or do you want to move back to the Empire? And like that, you get your armies sent, like teleported back to the new settlement you get or something. What's this all about? The new campaign mechanic. Gelt has a new campaign feature called the Colleagues of Magic. With this mechanic, whenever Gelt fights a battle with a wizard in his army, he will require arcane essays. With the number of arcane essays per battle correlating with the number of wizards present. Arcane essays can then be spent on gaining instant access to wizards from every lore of magic, allowing him to accrue spellcasters quicker and easier than anyone else on the map. Once you acquire a new wizard, let's use a grey wizard for this example, more actions are unlocked for that college, pertaining to that specific spellcaster. Firstly, arcane essays can be spent to unlock the Dance of Despair cataclysm. So long as the Grey Wizard is within your army during battle or a unique effect, in this instance, Mass Concealment can be purchased with the essays to grant the Stalking stance to the army, attaining the Grey Wizard, granting them 100% ambush success chance. Perhaps you wish to heal your entire army in a single go. Well, with a recruited Jade Wizard, you can do just that, and with other lores of magic at your disposal, yo, that's only the tip of the iceberg. Oh, that's this is very likely going to be a very, very, very strong campaign mechanic Gelt is getting here. Having multiple wizards in your army is it's rarely a bad thing, especially if you have a variety of. When you have more spells available, and if I remember correctly, all their power recharge stacks together, so you pull up more winds of magic from your resource faster. You can keep casting spells. You still have your limit of winds of magic, of course. Like it starts at 100 if you have a charge up to 100. And then, of course, you can increase that cap, which wizards normally get at least one skill that gives +5 or something. Alright, so wizards. Alright, so this is only for Gelt. Gelt fights a battle with a wizard in his army. If you make other armies with wizards in them, we're not going to get arcane. We get the essays, and we get more the more wizards we have in battle. Number of essays per battle correlating with the wizards present. I wonder if you have a second army full of wizards, they join the fight. Does that count? Does enemy wizards count? Something other people will figure out before I do. But for now, let's assume it's just the wizards in Gelt's army and not like from. Let's see, blah 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 blah. Yeah, he can. With it, he can churn out a lot of wizards from War of Magic. Quite a new wizard. Let's use. Wait. Every Lore of Magic. Doesn't mean we're getting metal wizards. Gold wizards, as they're called. Because for the longest time, Gelt has been the only wizard. I could be wrong, and I just forgotten that we have metal wizards by now. But yeah, moving on. So, Dance of the Spear Cataclysm spell. If you don't know what a Cataclysm spell is, that's something in the. What's the Warhammer free thing called? Reign of Chaos or whatever? The bear chase. When you were in the demon realms, you would get these Cataclysm spells, which like the spinny wheel on your spell, so you can't cast spells where this is happening, which is super annoying sometimes, especially when you want to cast spells straight away. Yeah, there's the spinny wheel, and it selects a color, and that color's a Cataclysm spell can be cast. So Cataclysm spells are super spells, with other words. Some characters can get access to Cataclysm spells in the Immortal campaign as well, but that's like specific to them. It's not something that everyone has access to. It tends to be like as a temporary bonus. Some of the Chaos guys gets it. Let's see. Perhaps you wish to heal your. Yeah. These changes and additions are designed to revitalize the Empire across the board and make their new arrival, Elspeth on Draken, feel right at home. Whether you're summoning the Electric Council Carl, polishing up an arcane with Balthasar Gelt, or educating the masses with Imperial Gunnery School, there's plenty to sink your teeth into. Are we forgetting two people? What about Mr. Grimm? What about Volkmar? What about Marcus Wolfart? For more details on Elspeth von Draken and to watch her in action, keep an eye out on official channels for a second Furnace of Decay gameplay showcase. Next week, we'll be narrowly dodging our place in the Book of Grudges by tackling the great inventor himself, Malachi Mackayson. Following up the next week after that with our FLC blog post and an FAQ to answer your burning question. As always, we'd love to know your thoughts, so use the links below. Make your voice heard on all things Total War. Official Discord, official forums. Ugh, Steam. You want to go there. Like one of the most awful places to have a discussion in. Oh, this was very good. I must say. Big fan of changes. They're definitely repairing the they're definitely repairing the goodwill they lost when they tried to milk us dry with Shadow Change. Getting these, I'd say, quality changes. Are there massive changes? Not really. I mean, for Guilt, it's definitely a new flavor. Other comments. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, listening to me read through this. I'd say overall, this is a big W, big dub for both CA and Empire enjoyers. Definitely gonna look forward to Elspeth. See what the Amethyst armory units would be like. Hopefully it's more exciting than just, oh, this is this unit, but they can do magic attacks now. But yeah, with that, I want to thank you all for watching. I have a Twitch where I stream a couple of days in a week, in the evenings during my time. The weekends I stream during the morning until half days, 4 or 5 hours, depending on how I feel. And see you guys next week, where we'll read the final one with the dwarves. I don't cover the gameplay video thingies because I think they tell pretty well what's going on there. And with that, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time, bye bye.